Excellent. Okay, so probably one of the most important topics that I've seen for you guys is really this one, is this defining a lead. And, what's the process for defining this, for the lead? What's the scripts for defining a lead? What's the conversation with my boss regarding what's a good lead? What's a good appointment? Should I follow up? Should you follow up? This is such a critical topic for us because I have 100% faith that all of you, if you just make enough contacts every day, if you just talk to 30, 40, 50 people, and if you're, if you, as a full-time power prospector, you should be working to get 50 contacts a day. That should be your goal. And as we discussed yesterday, your ability to utilize the tools, the resources, the programs, have good communication with your boss should allow you to get to the 50 a day with a good schedule. Okay, so if you're not there, we need to figure out how to get you there. If you're a part-time prospector, well then your goal should be somewhere in that 20 to 30 range, and you should be having lots of conversation with your boss about how do I get to the 20 to 30 consistently. What's the plan? What's the sources? What's this, that, the other? So as all of you know, if we're talking to that many people, and if you're using any portion of some of my scripts, and if you're using any of the skills that we've been talking about, from the mimicking, from the being engaging to the asking questions, if you're using any of the stuff that we're doing and just talking to enough people, you will absolutely find leads, no question about it. Okay? Now, the question for if I'm your boss, for me it's really, I want to deal with the quality leads right now. And then the leads that are not necessarily quality, what do we do with those? So that's where this whole game gets a little bit confusing, because your boss, if you send your boss a bunch of leads that really they didn't like the leads, then what happens is they get kind of negative about it. And if that's not your fault, it's not their fault, it's just you guys haven't really spent time to go, hey, what type of lead should I send to you right away? What's the way that you want me to send it to you? What's the definitions? What's the notes? What's the, high priority, low priority? What's the best way for me to, should I put it into your calendar? Should we time it? Should I just send it to you via email? Should I, just send you a list at the end of the day with all of them? If it's hot, should I send it to you immediately? Should I call you? Like, how should this whole thing go? So you can see, like, this is such a critical conversation. So defining the lead, right, your definition, your boss's definition determines everything from the script to the follow-up action plan. So let's dive in. Okay, so how do we define it? Do we define a lead as, I completed every question on the script that is important, right? Is a lead, am I listening to some of the hints that they might be interested, and then I kind of like, I think that they're interested. I asked every question on the script, right? So I think it's a lead. Or is it something completely different? Are they slightly interested in a property market analysis? Or are they like, I want you guys to come over for sure because we really want to know what's happening? Like, which one is this? Right? You can see how subtle these are. We've all been trained, or I have training already on there for the newer folks. I've done the buyer motivational question training. For those of you who've been training with us for a while, we worked on the buyer motivational questions. So I asked Pearl, and I think I asked Melanie, I think I asked Michelle, I think I've asked Yesterday I asked, Will, a lot of you really need to get stronger with the buyer motivational questions because you're already good. And so, like, you're already finding the lead, but you're just getting someone who's interested in maybe a home evaluation or interested in selling their home in the future, and then you're just passing the interested off. But the real reality, what we really want to know is the buyer motivational. And some of you, you're so good, you need to just ask the buyer motivational questions, because then you can say to your boss, hey, they want a property analysis. I asked them if they were going to, think about, if they were to sell this home, where would they go next? They actually said they were going to move to California, and they're looking at properties right now online. They haven't been, they don't have any plans to go over to California to go look at properties anytime soon, but they would like to make this move within the next 6 months. So, if you reported that to me as an agent, I'm going to be like, awesome, this is great. But if you just report, hey, they're interested in selling and they'd like a property analysis, I'm just like, shit, it's just a lot of work. That's not exciting to me at all. So the buyer motivational questions, when you put those notes down, like, yeah, they're looking, for a property in Arizona. They're looking at moving here. They're looking at getting a bigger home. They're looking at, they want to get into a better school district for their family. And, they're not thinking about doing it now, but they really would like, before the end of the year, they want to actually sell their home and move into this new area. That would, oh my God, I'd be so excited to call that lead. But if you're just giving me, yeah, they're interested in selling, and that's all you put down for me, I'm probably not going to want to call it. Okay? Do they have a buying game plan discovered? We talked about buyer motivational, meaning like, hey, yeah, we are currently looking online for new properties in Arizona, and we're actually flying over to Arizona next weekend to go take a look. And we've already started working with an agent over there, and we're, actually working on financing to get that home. So I do want a property market analysis on my home, and because I'd like to probably put my home on the market in the next 3 months or so that we can make this transition. That's a game plan. Right? Have we established the game plan? The reason why is so critical too. You guys saw in the buyer motivational questions, there's a couple questions like, well, what would cause you to make this move? What's important about making this move? Those are, like, if you can, and if they said, well, I'm moving because of my grandkids, live there. My daughter lives there with the grandkids. We're retired, so we're looking at getting down there. We would like to know the value of our home because we're starting to make this plan. Oh my gosh, what a great lead that is. Okay, because I now know the reason why they're wanting to make this move. So, what is the definition of a lead that you and your boss have? What's the definition here? Because remember, now can you see that the script totally is dependent upon the definition? So critical, I want all of you to review what the definition of a lead is with your boss. Let's talk about time frame. Okay? So what's the ideal time frame? This is one of my favorite questions, because someone says, oh, yeah, I'm interested in a property analysis. We're thinking about selling, but we're not going to do it right now. Oh, great, no problem. Were you guys planning on staying in the area or moving out of the area? No, we're definitely going to stay in the area. Wonderful. Have you guys been online, shopping for your new home? Have you been kind of looking around? Oh, yeah, we're kind of online a lot, taking a look at properties. well, have you guys been like driving around, taking a look at open houses and really kind of more actively getting out there and taking a look at homes? Yeah, we've been pretty active. Okay, well, based upon that, what's the ideal time frame for you to be able to sell this home and move into the next home? Well, we would like to probably do it by the time summertime rolls around. Okay, cool. So it's kind of summertime is the ideal time. Do you guys have kids? Yes. So the kids are out of school, so I don't want to move them while they're in school. Wonderful. So summertime is the ideal time frame, right? I've trained you guys on, look, kind of, are you guys thinking about selling? Yeah, we're kind of thinking about it, but not right now. Are you thinking at the beginning of this year, at the end of this year, thinking about summertime? Are you thinking about fall, right? Are they seriously looking now? Kind of those questions of, look, for me to go online, I love looking at properties. So it's no big deal for me to be online looking at properties in my dream community. But that doesn't mean I'm serious. It just means that I'm looking and I'm interested, because everybody loves looking at properties. So, a serious buyer, someone who's going to sell, well, I'm going to go drive around that neighborhood. I'm going to go look at listings. I'm going to go, actively be looking at properties and driving through the communities. I love this question, when was the last time you actively looked at property? You were actively out there looking at property. Well, we were out there last weekend. Ding, 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 motivation. Will and Chris and Liz, all of you that are calling old expireds, that is like one of the critical questions right there for an old expired. Gosh, when was the last time that you were actively out there looking at property? Well, we were looking last weekend. What does that mean about their motivation? It's high because they're actively looking now. If you ask, well, when was the last time you were actively looking at property? And they're like, oh, it's been like 6 months. It's been a year. What does that tell you now about their motivation? This is not very high. Okay? So, what's the follow-up game plan based upon the level of motivation and based upon the time frame? And this is something that you, as the power prospector, need to start making some decisions around, asking questions of your boss, and having this conversation around, well, I asked them these questions, they said these things, I wasn't totally sure, so I tried to ask them this, they responded this way. What do you think, Patrick? Should I follow up with them every 7 to 10 days, every 30 days, or do you want to call them and follow up with them kind of 7 to 30 days? Which one do you want? Which one do you want? Do you want me to follow up with them to try and find out more about their motivation, or do you want to follow up with them to see if they're more motivation and maybe you can get it out of them? So what's the follow-up game plan now that we know more about this lead? And so how do you, are you emailing that question to your boss? Are you having that conversation with your boss? Right? That's such a critical little question there. Okay? Do we have the reasons next, the reasons for moving identified? And I just put this little training in here because I wanted you guys to be able to listen more closely to reasons. Like, I want you to be listening for them. So the more you guys understand what would cause a family to sell their home and move to a new home, what would cause someone like myself to sell my home in Las Vegas, what would cause, my parents to sell their home and move on, what would cause me to, sell my current home and buy the next home. Well, what are the human nature reasons, right? I know Chris was, my VA was telling me she wants to buy a new home, her and her family. And one of the reasons, she was like, we want to get closer to the beach. Well, I guess that's why Chris is my virtual assistant, because that's the same reason why I also will sell my house and move to a new house, because we actually want to get closer to the beach. And that's really important to me and my wife. We like the beach lifestyle. So, but you know, if I was also, one of the reasons why I would sell my house and move into a new house is because, you know, my house is not really set for having, you know, 2 kids. It's kind of set for like having 1 kid. So I will buy a new house because A, we want to move closer to the beach, and B, because we need a bigger house with more rooms so our kids can grow up and have their own space. Okay? Downsizing is one of the main reasons we hear with a lot of the older people. You know, the downsizing means they got this big house and, you know, they're just getting older. And it's like physically to maintain the lawn, you know, the garden, to clean the house, physically it just gets challenging. Or it's like, you know what, it's so big and it's so expensive. Why do we need all of this? The kids have all left. The kids are all living at their own houses with their own families. And I got this huge house. I don't need it anymore. That's what we refer to downsizing. Usually we see that with older people. Okay? Job transfer is one of the big reasons someone sells their home and goes and looks for a new one to buy a new house. So listen for job transfer. You know, upgrading. Upgrading meaning that I'm becoming more successful, we're making more money, so then we have the good fortune to be able to go buy a bigger, better, nicer house. You know, as Chris, my VA, starts to help me get a lot more listings this year, she's going to make a lot of money. And so she's going to buy a new house and move closer to the beach, right? Okay, family getting bigger, you know, or smaller, more kids, older kids. You know, these are some of the reasons why we would sell our house and move to a new house. Better schools, you know. Listen, you know, in a lot of families in the United States, they will sell their house and move to a new community so that they can get their kids into a better school. They call it a better school district, because, you know, in the United States, it's like if you live in this particular geographic area, your kids go to these schools, and sometimes those areas, the schools are way better. So lots of families make moves to get their kids into better schools. Very common reason. This is another one, to get closer to their job. So meaning, you know, if it takes 45 minutes to an hour for me to get to my job every day, and I'm driving 45 minutes to an hour, maybe sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, right? So then maybe, you know, my wife would say, all right, let's sell this house. Let's just move closer to your job so that we can have a better quality of life, right? So, you know, commute is too much, moving closer. You know, closer to their family. I hear this all the time. You know what? You know, we moved to San Diego, and, you know, all of my family is in Orange County. They're an hour away. And now that we're having kids, you know, I want to move back and be closer to my family, right? That's a very natural reason to want to make a move, right? Short sales, which really what that means is they can't afford their house. So sometimes, you know, I bought a big house, I lost my job, so all of a sudden I'm not making any money, but I have this big mortgage payment, and now it's financially stressing me and my family out because I can't afford to live in this house anymore, and my savings is going down. So you know what, I might need to sell this house because I can't afford to keep it and go get something a lot less expensive. So a lot of times it's what we refer to as, you know, they got to sell because, you know what, they can't afford it anymore. It's just too expensive. Okay, you hear a lot of that. And when the economy was really bad, that was happening all the time. Like a lot. It was the most dominant reason. So, what do you believe? So, now that we've discussed all those reasons, I want you to be able to now listen as you're talking to people. It's just human nature. Like life happens and they want to move. It's very natural. And it's for very good reasons and bad reasons and, wonderful reasons and tough reasons. So what do you guys think is the most common reason someone moves? What do you, if you think about your life, think about your friends, think about your parents, think about your family, what's the most common reasons that occur, around you? The last person that that moved, why did they do that? So, as you can see, this is a very natural conversation. This is, so when you guys are like, well, I don't know what questions to ask, the truth is, it's a very normal conversation day to day. Let's take a look at the next. What's their buying game plan? Their buyer motivational questions. We want to buy someday, or we are looking online for our next home right now. We're staying in our current area, or we're moving out of the area. We're actively looking, we're driving around, we're stopping by open houses, we're checking out different neighborhoods and communities, right? We already have a real estate agent who's helping us find the next home, and we're scheduled to look again. Right, so we're scheduled. So I really want to buy a house in the ski resort town that I was just snowboarding in this weekend. So when I go to buy that next house up there, I'll schedule an appointment with the real estate agent for us to go take a look at properties over the weekend, and then I'll schedule myself to go up to Mammoth and we'll go look at properties. That's just a natural thing to do if you're buying a new house in a new city somewhere else. Okay, we already bought the other home. You'll hear that too. Well, if you were to sell this home, where would you go next? Well, we already have it. Oh, so you already own a home. Yeah, we already own the home, so we just want to sell this one so we can just move in over there and we'll get rid of this one. Great. What's their motivation to sell it? Probably pretty high, because they already have the other one, right? We own multiple homes. Don't be surprised, when you're prospecting in the United States that, a lot of people own a lot of homes. They own 2, 3, 4. Like my father owns like 4 homes. One in Florida, one in Las Vegas. He owns one in Orange County. He owns one in the desert. He used to own one in Hawaii. So he was up to like 5, and he used to have one in Virginia. He had like 6 homes at one point, right? I had 2 homes. I had one in Las Vegas and I had one in California. Sold the one in Las Vegas. So don't be surprised when you hear people say, yeah, no, we're just going to sell this one. We already have another one we're going to move into. It's pretty normal, okay? Last thing, can we refer them out to another agent? So if you're talking to someone, and Chris tried to help with this, one of these people, they said, hey, well, we want to buy a new house in Mexico. And I was like, oh, great, well, we can refer you to someone in Mexico. So why that's important to us is, as a real estate professional, if I refer, so let's say, Melanie, I find if Chris is prospecting, for me in San Diego, and she talks to a seller and they say, well, yeah, we're going to move to Las Vegas, right? So if they say that, well, Chris, as a real estate agent, I know 2 great real estate agents in Las Vegas, right? Jason Abrams, Melanie's boss, and then there's Ika Fogel, right? And I forgot who's got a new, I think it's Carlo. No, Carlo. I think it's Carlo, his boss, right? So I can refer my friends who are real estate agents this new buyer, and they can now make the sale, and it's great. So always be looking for a referral opportunity. Is the lead qualified, right? So here's what we got to look at. Are they open to talking to us? Like, are they really open to talking to your boss? Are they open to a phone appointment? Or are they open to us having a meeting at their house? Are they open to an email, a phone, or a house appointment? You know, how qualified is the lead, right? Are they open to us earning their business? This is such a great question, you know, to earning their business, right? Do they already have an agent? This is really important stuff for us. Are they open to our high-valued service offers? So if we said, hey, I'd like to offer you a free property market analysis. If they're like, no, I don't want one. You know, we're interested in selling, but I don't want that. Well, can we have a phone appointment? No, I don't want to talk to the agent. Well, should we come over, take a look at the house, and meet you guys? No, I'm not. They said they're interested in selling, but they were like, no, 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 no. Well, do you already have a real estate agent you work with? Yes, my brother is a real estate agent. Oh, your brother's a real estate agent. So look, if the brother's a real estate agent, is that an objection or is that actually a condition? That's a condition. There's nothing we can do about that. So you can see that really this lead that said they were interested in selling, not open to any of our services. You know, they're not open to us earning their business because they're like, I have a brother that I have to use as a real estate agent. This lead's dead, right? So at what level are these guys qualified? Did they provide you a phone number or an email address? You know, that's, you know, great qualification. So, you know, this is the game is, do you want to follow with them 2 to 5 more times to see if we can convert them into a listing appointment? That's the game. So last thing on this topic, so you can see this is a big topic, is what's the follow-up game plan from this point forward? Okay, so you know, now that we've had this training, you know, Chris, my VA, she, you know, we need to create a new game plan. You know, what level of motivation? Did you get time frame? You know, is it a property market analysis? Did you get an email? You know, is there a reason why? Is there an area where they want to move to? Okay, now, do we want to add them to the email drip system? Do we want to add them to the mail campaign? Do you want to pass them to the agent or keep them in a nurture process yourself? Do we want to schedule them into the appointment for the agent? Right? Like, I'd love to give Chris access to my schedule. It's something I should do, so that she can actually plug them right in to my prospecting session, and or maybe create an appointment right in Mojo for me to follow up with them and just put them into my designated follow-up time to call the leads. So Chris, as I'm saying that's what we should do, is you should schedule them into the Mojo for me to follow up with them, and I'll just call them. Right? If you guys want us to listen to the recording of the call, maybe put it into my calendar, put it into my Mojo to-do task. Listen to this call, give me a critique. Right? That would be really good, Chris, as my virtual assistant. Hey, Patrick, I really want you to listen to this call because I'm just not sure, you know, what went wrong, or I'm not sure what their motivation is, or I'm not sure how to handle this objection. So in Mojo, you can put, please listen to this call. I have a question about, you know, the objection. I'm not sure how to handle that. And if you put that into my appointment or put that into my task, that's awesome. Cool. Now I don't have to think about it. It's just right there. Boom, I open Mojo. Boom, and I just get it done. So, you know, do you have a weekly, a monthly follow-up schedule with the agent? Meaning, you know, do you follow up on all the leads on Fridays? Do we follow up with all of the leads once a month? What's the decision there? Okay. Is it a weekly or a monthly nurture by you or by me? That's what we need to know based upon the definition of a lead. And the last thing is, what questions do we need to ask next? Last thing, this is such a powerful point, and I want you guys to all pay close attention to this. Part of lead follow-up is really the ability to go, okay, so I talked to this just listed, just sold neighbor, and they said that they were interested in a property analysis. They said they didn't want to talk to the agent, but they definitely gave me the email. They kind of hinted that they were interested in selling in the near future, but they definitely did not want to talk to an agent yet. Okay, cool. So that's kind of this lead. So, boom. I didn't get any other information. So now I've got this lead, and I wrote my notes, and I send over those notes to my boss, and now it's like, okay, I need to follow up with this lead next month. So what questions do I now have that I want to ask this lead the next time that I talk to them? Well, what did we not talk about? We never really got kind of the where they would want to move to. We never asked them the buyer motivational questions. We didn't get total clarity around the time frame, and we definitely didn't get the reason why they would want to move. So cool, there's like 4 or 5 great questions that I can now ask when I follow up with them next. You see, what I find where the biggest hesitance is with lead follow-up is we don't know what to say. And it's really we don't know what question to ask. What's that next conversation that we want to have? So maybe in your notes, you might want to say, next call, ask this, ask this, ask this. So then now in your lead follow-up, the lead comes up, okay, cool, they got a home evaluation, they didn't want to talk to an agent, they said they were interested in selling, follow up in 30 days, ask the buyer motivational questions, still need to find out the time frame, still need to find out the reason why. Oh, cool. Well, I'll call them and, hey, hope you got the market evaluation report. Just was checking in. Well, I never asked you the last time. I'm curious if you guys would ever sell this home, where would you go next? Right? Boom, maybe we have a little bit of that conversation, but I never got the reason why. Right? And they didn't want to set an appointment still, so I set them for the next month to follow up with them. Now in my notes just say, what's the reason why they want to make this move? They want to move to, Wyoming. So, hey guys, this is Patrick. I just want to check in with you every month. I know that you guys are interested in moving to Wyoming. Have you guys been looking at all yet? Have you been online? Have you connected with an agent yet? No, you haven't connected with an agent. Oh, you are. You're scheduled to go to Wyoming this next month or 2 months from now. Ah, gosh, that's so great. You know what? I never asked you. What's taking you guys to Wyoming? Oh, a job transfer 6 months from now. Oh, I see. So what's the ideal time frame for you guys to, be in Wyoming? Oh, so you have to be in Wyoming in the summer. Okay, great. Well, I made a note of that. So it's only January today. So what I'll do is I'll just check in with you maybe once a month until you're ready to meet with, my boss. And, can I ask you an important question? Would you be open to my boss earning your business and having the opportunity to work with you? Yep, we would totally be open to it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. If there's anything that you need, please let us know. Boom. See, that follow-up process is all about asking the next question. And if I took really good notes and I had a nice follow-up plan of once a month with those notes, now the next time I open the note, it's like so easy because it's just like, oh, I'm reminded of all the conversation, I've got the next couple of questions, and boom. All right, so I know I covered a lot of content on this session. This was a really important session, and I hope that you guys got a lot of value. You're probably going to need to watch this video. You're probably going to need to watch it at least once a week, right? Just to refresh yourself, refine what, I want you to look at your notes and go, what do I need to do? What conversations do I need to have, with my boss to make sure that we're successful and that they're converting these leads? Okay, so any questions that you guys have? I'm going to open up I'm going to open up my little chat here, and let's take a look at the time. I don't know what time it is because I'd like to get a couple role plays done with you guys today. 2:38, so we're right about, these are taking 30 minutes or so. So any questions? Let's just go straight to the questions in the Facebook chat, okay? And if there's anything that you have in terms of questions about this stuff, let's talk about it in Facebook. So I'll create a post. I'm going to be on my computer for 3 hours this evening. So any questions that you guys have, I'd love to respond to those, talk to you guys. I got to do some quick role play. Alfred, would you please let me know who I'm role playing with next? I had a great role play session with Will yesterday. Oh, and I owe Darwin. Darwin, if you're on the call, I should do you right now because I didn't get to you yesterday. So let's do Darwin and someone else.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And looking forward to that. Darwin, you're now with Ika. No, you're with John and Danny. That's right. Cool.
Yes.
All right, Darwin, cool. I look forward to it, man. Let's talk on Skype. All right, the rest of you guys have a wonderful prospecting day. One thing I'm going to request too, I also want all of your wins. So I'm going to do a little post on Facebook, and I want all of you to post your wins from yesterday or today in that little Facebook comment. Would you guys all commit to that for me? So I'll create the post. I want all of those wins in there. I want to do that every day because I want you guys to be able to see other people's success. We want to celebrate the success. Prospecting is a really, really tough job. So we've got to be able to create a supportive environment for us to be able to really thrive and flourish in. Have a wonderful day, guys, and I look forward to talking to you, Darwin, in a couple minutes.